Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more episode here on the School of Neuroproductivity. Today, I have a special guest. Always, I have a special guest, but today, I want to speak to someone who became a friend. Most of my students become my friend, but this is a special guest, Maria Jacobo. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk a lot about neuroproductivity and neurodiversity.
Yes. Hi, Edel. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
And like you said, more than I think we've become I united by one purpose because
Yeah.
I believe that we're so connected in many ways.
Yeah, and probably I would say that because Maria has so many talents, and I think what I would like to appreciate, because I think life is made of, we need to create life through gratitude. So,
Yes.
live here, I would like to appreciate your effort to bring me to the podcast world, because this is something that you've been telling me. Oh, come on, you got to do
Yes.
it, you got to do it, and finally, we ended up setting up this stage. So thank you so much for being the one who trusted and said, you got to do this.
You're very welcome. And I believe that your message and the power of transformation that you bring to people's life, it's going to be magnified by this podcast. People sometimes don't have the time to go to a conference or in a crazy world that we live today, people don't even have time to read a book. They hear it. So that's why I believe that podcasts are so powerful. And being with you for many years now, for a couple of years, the power of one word can transform a person's vision and can make them realize so much. Where am I stuck? How I can proceed. So now through this podcast, all of you are going to be able to experience Edel and neuroproductivity and the Mind
Okay.
Club and all that you
Yeah,
do.
there are so many things going on,
Yes.
right? But let me see. Maybe today, what I would like to bring, it's something that I would like to share from your last event, your event, through
Yes.
the neurodiversity. It was a very special moment that I saw you on stage, and by the time that and it's usually what I do in the School of Neuroproductivity, which is using us as a mirror instead of teaching and giving more information, but it's being a mirror. And remembering the day that I was in that event for the Chamber of Neurodiversity, which is where you are, like you're the queen of this space. Um, I could see myself. It was like so powerful, the way that you were speaking, and the way that it was so integrated with the neuroproductivity thing. And and this is what I believe, because we are on this planet to sustain and to help and to serve. But serving is not helping. We think that helping is we need to help others. But the real service is like I was there and I could feel myself sustaining your project.
Yes.
And when you're helping me with the podcast and the image and everything, it's like you're sustaining me. And it's like the infinite image that
Yes.
I give you some support and you give me some support, and then we exchange being ourselves.
Yes, and that's the concept of neural wholeness. And I came because when I was doing the work with you, I've done so much in life. And, as an author, creator of nonprofits, my own business, but I always was on the doing. And even in my spiritual life, I felt validation by doing for others. I
Yeah.
will leave the things that I needed to do for myself to go and do for others. So there was a time that we were working, and every month you say one word, and one of the words that kept popping out was that I need to feel whole
Oh,
again because I felt fragmented at one point, and that fragmentation became because of fear and doubt and so many things that we allowed to
beautiful. Yeah.
to come into our lives. And I remember specifically when you mentioned that to me, that you pinpoint that fear, it was like a freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that the reason that you saw yourself there is because we're so aligned. It's the power of oneness. I cannot be whole by myself. You know, we are a body. Even in the Bible says that, you know, that I believe so much in what the Word of God says, but sometimes we don't integrate it.
Integration is
So,
everything.
exactly. So if I'm a part of a body, what role do I play? So that's why I need you to complete what I'm doing, because without you, my work doesn't have the full meaning or expression. So that's what wholeness is. By ourselves, there is nothing we can do. And we need you know, those people that support our vision, but also propel our vision, fund our vision.
Exactly.
So there is so many ways to become a whole body within ourselves. So that's where neural wholeness came from, and we need to feel whole everywhere we are. At work, we need that support system,
Yeah.
those people that are there to help us thrive and bring forward the skills that we have. Within our family, you know, you have a beautiful wife, you have your daughter, you have your family also completes you in so many ways that maybe your job doesn't do it.
Exactly.
But when you bring all those pieces of family, your own image, like you were saying, how do I see myself? How do I project myself? How am I forgetting who I am? Because we are created to a, you know, to a higher image. Am I reflecting the fullness of that image today?
Yeah.
And the purpose that I was created. So it was like a release. When I started doing the process with you, for me, it was why I felt shrinking all the time for others. I felt that I needed to shrink to belong in certain
Yeah.
scenarios. And I remember that you said one time, Maria, but you're ready. And I'm like, yes, I know I've been ready, but I just, you remember that?
But also, but remember also something that
Yes.
when you accepted, everything started to move. It's like
Yes.
magic. It's even I don't care about followers or but
No.
even in your social media, something
Yes.
miracle happened, right?
Absolutely. And you're
It
the
was
one that
crazy.
noticed. I was like, I don't know. When I started
No,
speaking
it
my
was
truth.
nothing, right? You were like, okay, I have this communication, but when you were whole,
Yes.
integrated,
Yes.
everything started to be integrated.
And this is how my brain sees things. You know that we were talking about neurodiversity, and you love that word.
I love
And
it.
I
I love it.
remember that you keep saying, Maria, this is it. I mean, you have to explore that more. And I was like, really? Okay. And you know, when we think, you the way that your brain is wired, it's different than mine. And we all have a way of doing things that make us more productive without working more. And that's something that I learned with Edel, that I could, you know, just by pinpointing those little things. So my brain work with systems, ecosystems. So I'm able to bring different things together like a wheel and make it work for you. So for me, communication is natural. And I can put all together within image of your brand, of yourself, your inner image, and tie it to your business, and then create a system with marketing and sales and public relations and everything that communicates around you and a brand. I created a specific wheel, and I'm like, okay, this has been in my mind. Like you say, Maria, you're ready, release, release. And I'm like, I'm going to release it with me, and I'm going to be authentic
Yes.
in the way I do it. I'm going to talk about the things that are important for me, that I've been living, and that's what happened. Everything exploded from
Because
there.
I've been researching fear
Yes.
for so many years and going deep in terms of what is fear, what is the most common fear that people would say. Some researchers, some people usually say that, oh, okay, I'm afraid of speaking in public, I'm afraid of dying. But there is one fear that I consider and that I found out that it is the fear of being ourselves. And at the end of the day, we avoid, literally avoid doing it, avoid producing it,
Yes.
because I'm afraid of showing up. I'm afraid of literally live who I am.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, if we don't accept, if we don't look at, and it needs a lot of work, internal work.
Yes.
so that we can touch what that truth is. And that truth, when it's released, it goes, it flows. That is life. And I think we all deserve that life in life.
Yes.
And there are so many people losing their lives, not even killing themselves, but
Wow.
losing their lives, spending the whole life without finding that truth because they're hidden. So that's the fear. It is a hidden fear. And there are so many, especially guys. I trained so many guys, and people say, no, I'm not afraid of anything. Yes, you are. And
Yes,
at the
we all
end,
have fears, and you know, you said that the biggest fear in people is to be who they are or to show themselves. And the way that I wrote it sometimes is like we forget who we are.
yeah.
And that becomes because in this era, you know, that we are coming to ourselves. When you and I grew up in certain scenarios in the corporate world,
Mm-hmm.
at church, in our neighborhood, in this
Society, yeah.
community, we are taught one word that suppresses our self, which is you need to be political correct.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe studying politics and image and
That's right.
how they branded someone to sell that person to you so you can vote. That's when the image started. So the fear of being authentic, it's because people think if I'm myself, I'm not going to be accepted in this little world that I perceive I need to belong. Once you remove that fear, it's it's not only freedom. In my case, the fear was a little bit different because I'm very much to myself, but my fear was more that if I'm not useful in your life, because I was alone here in this country, I didn't have any family. I became a safe space for many people.
Mm-hmm.
So my fear was if I don't keep doing this, not only I'm going to lose my friends, but they're going to lose the only place. So I was stretching myself thin. You
It's a
remember?
fragmentation. It's a fragmentation,
Yes, yes. You
right?
remember you told me, Maria, but this is not the place for you. In certain places that you and I discussed, and I stayed there longer because I believe in that person's vision more than mine,
Yeah.
or because I felt if I leave, that person is not going to fulfill the vision because
Yeah.
they need me to my own detriment. You know, we talked about it
Yeah.
financially or my time that could be used somewhere else. So once the crutches, because sometimes we need to remove the crutches on
Yeah.
others, but also on ourselves. When I removed that, it was freeing.
Yeah, because it's interesting. It's at the end of the day, we're lying. We are lying to ourselves, right?
Yes.
And this is when coherence happens. Because if I know clearly who I am and I can regulate that initially to self confidence, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, the fear blocks because I started to doubt
Yes.
who I am. I start to not trust who I am. And at the end of the day, that the lack of confidence just blocks the results. And without results, without the coherent results, we're not going to have the sustainability to to grow. Interesting. It's at the end of the day, it's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
It's not only that; it's also freedom because if you're listening here, one of the things also that for me was very liberating. It was also, you know, to reopen myself for expectations. And we think that I always said, oh, you know, God blessings are always come and find me.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I used to joke around, oh my God, they have a very bad GPS because they can't find me.
That's good.
What's happening here?
That's good.
But once you remember you and I were doing this exercise, you have to expect the good
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
So in one of the meetings that we have, and you know, as I was growing up, in this, I remember, you know, you and I talked about, you know, this cap that I had financially. I say, okay, I need to grow out of it because I know I can produce more, and
Yeah.
it wasn't even about money.
No, it's not.
You know, and I said, what is keeping me here tied up? And it was my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So once I was able to shift and kind of expect, like you said, you know, and be who I am and kind of voice it
Yeah,
too, because I was afraid to even say my value because I was always giving
exactly.
myself.
Yeah,
So it's incredible. Like my incomes have tripled and I don't have to negotiate anymore. I say it as it is and people see the value.
yeah. And there is one interesting thing for those who wants to break that cap, which is by the time that you decide to have a cap, or you know what your cap is, and you want to break it or break that chain or whatever it is, and in order to cross that bridge, a lot of things will happen. A lot of things to put you back or to make you feel more afraid, and situations,
Yes.
people,
Yes.
so many things that will block you to move forward, so that you're afraid. And that's why we need to work on the fear before. We need to regulate that emotion before. And that's why I keep saying emotional regulation is step number one.
Yes.
Before you're clear of what you want, how are you believing, or how you can regulate? I'm not talking about controlling your emotions.
No.
I'm talking about understanding emotion, so that you can regulate your emotion, so that you can be coherent.
And for me, it was identifying that emotion
Yeah.
because sometimes I didn't even
I
know.
remember that. I remember. Now,
You,
fear me?
me?
No, I don't know. You don't know me.
No,
You don't know me.
exactly. No. And then also,
Lies.
besides fear, sometimes, if I'm angry or if I'm upset about something or if something is bothering me about somebody, I need to, okay, but how can, okay, I need to regulate this in me because even sometimes allowing somebody to, the way that they talk to you or the way they approach to you makes you feel certain way. Sometimes they just dismiss it because we don't want to
Yeah.
be disruptive. But that awareness brought to me, oh, wait a second, I'm not okay with this. Why am I not okay with this? Sometimes doesn't mean that the person is bad or good or
No.
whatever. It's just that certain situations are not for me anymore.
And everything moves. Everything flows.
Everything.
Everything changes.
So in some people, I see them now as like a little baby having a tantrum, but I don't have to get into the tantrum.
Yes.
And staying aware of that for me, it has been freeing because now I can say, okay, this is the situation, and I'm aware of it. And I sometimes I say it's okay for me to live it, but I'm not going to stay here. Now I need to move to the next step.
Yeah. And bringing up to we're very close to be on stage together on the
Yes.
big event for the professional of the new era. What should we? And I mean, you accepted the challenge to be speaking for 7 minutes
Oh
without
yes.
controlling your slides, right? Something very unique, disruptive for the new era. What can you share here? How are you feeling about it? And any message that you can share now that you're gonna bring, so that we know more about this wholeness.
Yes, I think that, wow,
Yeah.
it's so much I want to share, but it's it's all about your essence. And I think that we have been so disconnected
Beautiful.
from what comes from within. It's in Spanish it's called there is something that emana, like comes forward from you.
The vibration, right?
And yes, and there is, and nobody can do it for you or like you. Nobody can be you. So in this returning to yourself and becoming whole again, I think this is something that we will experience in this 7 minutes
Wow.
because we need to be back to being you.
Yes.
And I think it's like
That's a
I
huge challenge, you see?
it is because sometimes we can be anything and everything for a lot of people and a lot of places, but we dwell in this, temple. We are a temple,
It is a temple.
and we dwell here. And the reason we dwell, it's not only that we are like our creator, but we're meant to create, and we
Beautiful.
forget that.
Yes.
So that's part of. neural wholeness. And I'm still putting it together in 7 minutes, guys, because
Wow, that is a challenge. It is a challenge. Everyone is working hard.
I love to teach naturally.
Yeah.
That's something that I enjoy a lot. And that I could do. You remember you told me if I could do something, not charge anybody, I'll be teaching. I'll be like under a tree somewhere talking to
Love
people.
it. You don't need a classroom.
No,
Yeah.
and seeing people be the best they can be, that's my passion.
Yeah.
When I take somebody that, yesterday I was teaching some autistic young adults
Oh, this is another huge chapter of your
and
whole.
I mean,
That's why I say neurodiversities. We need
yes,
another podcast
that's another
to talk
podcast.
about
But
it.
let me tell you, people that they have bachelor's degrees or master's degree, but they can't get a job. So we started this
Beautiful.
entrepreneurship, and I got the grant for them to get it. And when I was listening, some of them have difficulty expressing themselves, but once they get comfortable and they jump that fear that I'm being able to
Exactly.
help, when they came out with their ideas yesterday of what their business is all about, you know, one is an urban planner and changing the way that people move in Miami
Exactly.
to make it safer and available for everybody. For me, it was like, I was starting to cry because I see each brain as a treasure.
Functioning. Yeah.
It's a treasure, everything that they carry in. So if you're listening, you have a treasure within you that is, it needs to be released. And it's going to get released on March 21st and 22nd. You need to be present. And you need to be, if you miss it, somehow this podcast gets you after.
Yeah.
You need to join the School of Neuroproductivity. You need to find a way of getting that treasure available for people because it's needed for humanity. What I've learned yesterday is that each of their ideas is so brilliant. I understood their purpose and why they're
Yeah.
created.
And there's no competition.
No,
There's no stress
No.
when you are yourself.
absolutely no.
Right.
And with them too, you could see the life there. It's the most beautiful thing. They have no will of more than what they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not doing this for money. They're not doing this for fame or recognition.
Even though the result will be money,
Oh yes,
right?
the result, but they're so
Yeah.
fulfilled.
Yeah.
It's just
It's beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is. So thank you so much for accepting the challenge of
Yes.
speaking for 7 minutes.
Thank you for
The
having
7-minute challenge is part of the ACE program. It's a disruptive model of speaking in public. For 7 minutes, you will have no control of your slides. So the slides will be automatically going through. And you have only 7 minutes because it's not only. Your message needs to be clear. And when you clear your message, when you know yourself, and when you're able to navigate your consciousness, your science, what you know is important, but much more important is your essence. And besides that, your expression of
Yes.
art.
Yes.
That
it
is the ACE program.
Oh, yes. And it's funny that he says we're a mirror because I have a program that's called ACE Autism.
That's right.
And I was like, when
You
he said
got
Maria,
my name?
Maria, I got it. I'm like, I'm going to show you. I even got the domain for this.
Okay,
like 3 years ago.
so I'm gonna use
So
the
it's
ACE
like
domain
ACE.
under your domain, and that's fine.
No, but it's like ACE Autism. And I'm like, this is how connected
It
we are. You're
is.
acing in another area.
Yeah.
So that professional of the new era that you're talking about, this is a new beginning for a lot of people. It's connected to ACE.
Yeah.
ACE is a tool.
Everything is connected.
So, it might manifest in my life through autism, but in your life, it's manifesting through this program. So I think eventually we will go towards the same end.
And that's why I saw myself when you were presenting.
Wow.
And I'm sure that every time, and I wish that
Yes.
for every single time that I'm speaking, it either in a class or on the event, any place that I am, that you can see yourself in me.
Yes, absolutely. And you've been, let me tell you, I see myself in you when you were speaking at that event that you invited me
Oh, that's
also.
right. It was a
And for
networking
me,
event.
now you're going to be speaking at the Chamber of Florida Neurodiversity Chamber of Commerce. And I see myself
Not for 7 minutes.
not for 7 minutes. You're going to have like 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
So captivating. But you've been one of the most influential people in my life in this, past 5 years. And if I can go further, because it's an alignment. And I think that there is a phrase in the Bible that you know that says that Jesus says you know my people will, or my sheep understand my voice. They recognize my voice because they know where they belong.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people need to return home where they belong. We don't
Beautiful.
belong everywhere.
No.
So I think that's why we recognize each other,
Yeah.
because we are in this part that brings wholeness, and everything that is neuro has to be with the mind and the body. The way that we think transform the body, transform our actions, transform the way we live life. So that's why I think we're so connected, because it comes from the same place too.
Yeah. Beautiful. It is. It's true.
It is.
So thank you so much. I think we need another time for another
Yes,
podcast,
another
because the
podcast.
neurodiversity is something that is very needed
Yes.
on our planet. We need to be talking more about it, because there are so many things hidden that we do not know, and we need to reveal.
Yes.
And neurodiversity, it is the new era. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you so much, Maria, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. And thank you so much for all of you. And I hope to see you on our next episode.